Cleveland Browns faithful, welcome back on into the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. We are live here after an absolute rout that the Cleveland Browns delivered to the Miami Dolphins today in Week 7. I'm going to give you all my thoughts here, post-game little live reaction here. I thought the Cleveland Browns were a bad football team. I knew Miami wasn't good. You know, the battle of the 1-5 teams and who's going to put up the bigger stinker and what head coach is going to try to get himself fired first. We got that answer today with Mike McDaniel walking around on the sideline, not only with the capris, but with the sunglasses on in a rainy, overcast, windy day in Northeast Ohio, right on the lake. So they're terrible. That Miami team is really bad. Tua is cooked, unfortunately. I know he's had a little bit of an unfortunate career. Injuries and head issues and likely CT, whatever it may be. He just is so bad. And the Browns defense showing you what they could do, flexing their muscles. Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, Tyson Campbell, Rayshon Jenkins. I mean, everybody contributing all the way down the ledger today, even a couple of plays, good plays from Miles Harden of all people, believe it or not. The offense, still not a lot to report from the offense. I think that Stefanski gets another week and, quiets the noise and doesn't have to hear about the hot seat maybe for another 7 days until we have to go to New England and play the Patriots. That'll be a whole different conversation, but I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news to people, but at least Stefanski listened. At least he listened. 25 carries for Judkins, 84 yards, 3 touchdowns, hat trick on the touchdowns. Gabriel only attempts 18 passes, completes 13 of them for 116 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. So the 50, 60 mile an hour winds, the rain, the poor weather, I understand that that's part of the equation, but Stefanski is still yet to beat the allegations that this is a creative, pass-friendly offense. He hasn't been able to do it. He hasn't been able to do it since Jameis Winston. And before that, Jacoby Brissett, of all people. So that is still on the to-do list. That's still on the checklist for Kevin Stefanski. Yes, can we win football games against bad teams because of our defense and because Quinshon Judkins gets the ball 25 times? Absolutely. Is that a good formula to win football games in the AFC North and the AFC in general? It absolutely is. Now, do you maybe need a little bit of good weather? Do you need to play a team that is not at the same level of you, talent-wise, or definitely below like the Miami Dolphins were today? Yeah, you need some of those things to go your way. I don't think that you're making a better team. I don't think you're beating a better team by playing like this week in and week out. Obviously, if you have the turnovers, you have a legitimate opportunity to do so. Tua, 12 of 23, 100 yards and 3 interceptions. They should just sit him down. They should just or trade him or fire sale. Like, I wonder if Andrew Berry's on the phone with Miami's general manager after this game. Like, hey, what's the price tag for Waddle? That seems like a move he would make. I don't know how it would work with the cap, but it's like, hey, like, you have decent players that I think you're going to see a fire sale in Miami because they're just trending toward a complete rebuild. Once again, it seems like they've been kind of rebuilding for years. Similar situation to us. Tua, they play the game, he plays a little bit more consistently as far as a quarterback when he's healthy. Like, they didn't think they were going to have quarterback issues headed into this year, maybe some questions, but he looks terrible. Quinn Ewers, he looked no good behind, obviously. You have no shot coming as a backup, but like Tyreek out for the year. Achane is a really good football player. I think they have high hopes for Ollie Gordon. And obviously Waddle is a good football player as well. He has 1 reception for 15 yards today. Like, I know that he's punching air somewhere. He's got to be pissed off, and Achane's got to be pissed off. MZC, welcome on in. Ashton, welcome on in. Daniels knows he's fired. Might as well be. Waddle, I know. Waddle to the Browns, that's like the Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper in-season move I could see Barry making. Like, okay, you want to go out and maybe use one of these first-round picks or give somebody a Godfather offer to get the quarterback you want next year? Why wouldn't you put him next to Waddle, Jeudy, Fannin, Judkins, Sampson? At least I could maybe get on board with that. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying Kevin Stefanski magically turns into a creative play caller overnight. I'm not saying any of those things. However, you got to think some of these teams are in fire sale mode. Maybe the Browns are in that mode as well. You see us maybe move on from Njoku, who is inactive today. Just some other pieces that you might be able to move around. I think I saw this on Twitter too. I think this is something that they got to start working on now. They got to get an extension for Alex Wright on the table. They got to get that over to his agent because he's a stud. He played like a beast today, all over the field. Like I said, Rashawn Jenkins all over the field. This is the annoying part, though, from this front office, ownership group, front office, and coaching staff. Well, Jim Schwartz, maybe it's a little bit different. It doesn't frustrate me as much, but let's say Andrew Berry and the Haslams. Like, you show us these glimpses of competency. I think that's the most frustrating part. If you rewind to the 1-31 days and the 0-16 team, it's like you never had any hope of that organization, the Browns rendition of the organization at that point being competent. But it's like, look, I come on here and talk about this every week. Like, you were just in the playoffs 2 years ago. You have a terrible 2024, 2025 campaign. You're in the playoffs in 23. This year obviously is a wash. Like, in Cleveland Browns typical fashion, this win today probably hurts you from getting a top 3 pick. Probably. Like, is it cool? Am I happy with the win? Does it get Stefanski off the hot seat? Do we have to stop hearing about being the laughing stock of the league for 7 days? Sure. I'm all on board with that. And it's a convincing victory. It's 31-6. Your defense plays elite. They get you the opportunity for a lot of the points. You feed the rookie Judkins and raise his stock and make it look like that the rookies are playing just as good as they played all year, believe it or not. Judkins 25 for 84, 3 touchdowns. Sampson, like, only 3 carries. That's what okay, all right, whatever. Fannin is your leading receiver. It's not like he's jumping off the stat sheet, but 4 for 36. Nobody else has 4 receptions on the roster. Judy has 2 for 17. Like, this is the guy, like, this is your number 1 wide receiver you're paying all this money for. And yes, the wind and the rain and I get it. But back to my original point, it's like, you see the competency that Andrew Berry like has a glimmer of hope, and you're like, okay, this is cool. Tyson Campbell is opportunity number 1. He's example number 1. It's early. It's a couple of weeks. Does he not look like a steal from Newsome? And I get it. Over time, will people go back to the mean? Will we go back to the averages with Newsome and Campbell? Sure, absolutely. But it's like, Campbell looks way better than Greg Newsome did in the system. He has a pick 6 today. Second week in the building. He probably doesn't even, he's barely learning the defensive plan. He's barely understanding it. He looked fine against Pittsburgh. He's got to cover DK Metcalf. It's not like DK went nuclear against us. And the one play that was really big, all's week on Twitter, I see that because we had 10 guys on the field. So yeah, it's going to be pretty tough to cover up a prominent wide receiver in the National Football League when you have 10 guys on defense. It's going to be pretty tough. So that's what's so annoying. It's like Schwartz shows these glimmers of hope, more consistently than probably anybody. Hey, this defense is real. This defense is legit. This defense can help you compete in the AFC and the AFC North. Stefanski, you still haven't seen it all year. He at least learned. He at least read the room this week. But once again, it was kind of a simple week for him to do that. Raining, windy, rookie quarterback only on his 3rd game. Like, yeah, I hope that you could have the mental wherewithal to give Judkins the ball 25 times. The guy looks like a stud. He looks like Nick Chubb 2.0. Not to make the comparison, but that's just what he looks like. He looks like that guy. Him and Sampson could be the running back duo of this backfield for the next 2-3 seasons on rookie deals. Jerome Ford, get him out. See what you could get for him. Can you get a 6th or a 7th rounder for Ford? Bye. Can you get a 4th or a 5th rounder for Njoku? See ya. See you later. Fannon's the number 1 option on this team from a receiving standpoint. But yeah, Ashton, you turn around today and it's all happy trails. But I mean, at the end of the year, we'll have 1 more win than Miami. We'll be right behind them in the draft, and we'll probably have to trade them some assets to move up and get the quarterback that we want. It's Cleveland Browns 101. Even when you win, you still lose. Win the battle and lose the war somehow. No wins the rest of the year unless you plan on going streaking. Let me put this little caveat out there, which does anybody believe that's a real possibility? I mean, do I have to pull up the schedule every time that I come on here and talk about this team? I will. I'll continue to do so. And that's the annoying part, too, that I will continually hit all year long with this team. And I understand. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Andre Smith has been good since week 1. But it doesn't really mean a lot to me when he missed the 2 biggest kicks of the year. Regardless of whatever. Andre Smith, he derailed the whole season. And that might be, oh, well, it's, you could have assigned the week 1 loss to Bengals to a lot. Sure, you could always assign every loss to a lot of people. I understand that. But if he makes an extra point or a field goal in the first week, this team is 3-4 through 7 weeks, and your playoff chances are on the table. You have a real opportunity. And I said it all year, and I'll continue to say it. We all know this roster isn't good enough to win, make a deep playoff run, let alone even get there, obviously. We know the coaching staff isn't prepared for that. We know we don't have the quarterback to do so. However, there's an alternate universe. Every year, there's an alternate universe where this Browns team is 3-4. And granted, I'll give you the flip side of the equation. Yes, that Green Bay win, obviously fortunate. You could have lost that game, should have lost that game, and you still could be 2-5 at the end of the day. But you've won the games. Well, you had the opportunity to win the games you probably should have won. Outside of the Minnesota game, that was a 1-score game that kind of fell away from you in the final seconds that could have been in the win side of the column as well. Game was trash. Will Cunningham. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's football in Northeast Ohio. That's why they're moving to a dome. And I get it. Okay, let's football's supposed to be played outside, yada yada yada. I understand that, but it's like nobody wants to watch this. I mean, it was great for me. 3 interceptions and Judkins getting the ball or however many turnovers we had. I think 3 minimum. And yeah, it was cool because it's a 31-6 Browns victory. It was all cool for me, but it's like, is that really a good product for the NFL? The NFL is probably thrilled the Browns are moving to a dome. Half of the AFC North games going to be inside. Like, they're probably fine with it. But back to my original point here, unless you plan on going streaking, which I don't think that anybody in their right mind thinks that's a possibility, any win the rest of the year is actually a detriment to you trying to set up for next year. You're 2-5. You're not, I don't see us magically beating the Patriots. That's going to be a tough game on the road. We don't play good in New England. So that's number one. But it's like, this is the annoying part of everything. We all knew that the first 6 weeks, 5 weeks was going to be a gauntlet. You play the Ravens early. You play Detroit. You play Green Bay. If you could have just had the wherewithal to win that week 1 game that you threw away, that you should have won against a team that you've traditionally beat as an organization this decade, you could at least take a deep breath and say, okay, we're 3-4. It might be really ugly, but look at this upcoming schedule with everything going on. Patriots on the road. I think they're a talented up-and-coming football team. Are the Patriots like that much better than us? Maybe you think they are. That's fine. I'll give credence to your argument. I don't know if they're that much better than us. Are they on the level of the Lions? Are they on the level of the Green Bay Packers who we beat? Are they on the level of a Baltimore team with Lamar? Yes, they're playing. Their trajectory is going up. They've been trending in the right direction for playing good football. But like, if you're 3-4 and you win that week 1 game, is it like impossible to think that through 8 weeks we could have been 4-4? Maybe it is because we're Browns fans. I get that if you want to be cynical. And then look after that. You got the Jets. You got the Ravens without Lamar. He'll probably be back for that week, knowing our stupid ass luck. But, nursing an injury that isn't guaranteed or anything like that, he could still be hobbled or sidelined throughout the remainder of the year. Then you play the Raiders. These next 4 games are all in the realm of possibility. So, unless you're Kevin Stefanski, Jim Schwartz, and the roster, and you plan on winning all 4 of these games coming up, which I think is a very low possibility, the season's still cooked. You're 2-5. Even if you win the next 4 games, you're 6-5. You're in a position to win a wild card spot. Maybe you're likely still on the outside looking in. Who knows? I feel like the AFC is so bad, anything could happen. But we all know they're not going. That's not going to happen. They're probably going to drop this week's game, on the 26th to the Patriots. Obviously, I think that is pretty apparent. Another road game for Gabriel against a defensive-minded head coach that, their defense is pretty good. And I hate to break it to you, but another performance today from the offense in the next week is just not going to get the job done. 116 passing yards. Like, whoa, you get the monkey off your back of scoring 20 points, scoring 17 plus points. But it's like, you needed the turnovers. You got to pick 6. Rayshon Jenkins gives you the ball on the 2-yard line. Like, your defense scored 14 of those points. believe it or not. Jenkins should have walked in for a second pick six of the day. So if he doesn't get tackled there, the offense still only scored 17 points. Like at the end of the day, you play football on all three levels, which is good to see, and it's impressive, and I like seeing it, and it's better than losing a game to Miami, believe it or not, from the morale standpoint for your draft capital. It actually is a wash at the end of the day, because like I already said, we'll be 4-13, and Miami will be 3-14, and they'll have a better draft pick than us because we beat them in some stupid ass game on October 19th. So good win. I'm thrilled with it. And DG should have like 6 picks on this. I mean, yeah, I think Gabriel, for all the talk that I got a couple of thoughts on Gabriel. I'm glad you said this, Ashton, because here's the thing. College to football is definitely a different beast. It's definitely a different animal. But however, you used a 3rd round pick on this guy. So you have to grade that at like middle of the pack. He wasn't a 1st round talent, but he wasn't like a late flyer, like a 5th, 6th, or 7th, like a Shedeur Sanders type of pick, right? So used some draft capital on him. Like you could have got an NFL ready starter in the 3rd round very easily, especially from what we've seen this year. Schlesinger, Judkins, like a guy in that type of vein. Like you could have got, well, I don't know if Andrew Berry could draft wide receivers. I don't think he can at all, but like possibly hypothetically, you could have drafted like a 3rd round wide receiver, like an Isaiah Bond or something that could be contributing. That's not like putting a pick on Dillon Gabriel. For all these snaps he took in college and seasons he played and games played, he don't look that good. It's not that he looks bad. It's not that he solely looks bad. It's that I swear this week still, 3rd week being the starter, and I feel like there's busted plays all over the place. He's turning the wrong way for the play fake. They're having him roll out to the wrong side on a boot play. I'm like, there's just some plays, especially in this first half today, where I'm like scratching my head when the game was closer, not necessarily close, but when it was still like a 2-score game. And I'm like, what's going on here? And he's had a lot of passes that were eligible for turnovers, in my opinion. I think the stats would back that up as well. Like Ashton is saying, he hasn't had any yet, but once again, you hear the guys on the radio, you hear the broadcast, they go, well, Gabriel is, they have discussions with him during the week and they say, just don't do anything stupid. Don't put the ball in jeopardy. Okay, that's all fine and good. He still puts the ball in jeopardy. He put the ball in jeopardy plenty of times against Pittsburgh. And we all know how that game ended up. So it's like, couple more games for Gabriel, in my opinion. I think you give him the Patriots game. I think you give him the Jets game. And then that's 5 starts. And then you maybe take a look and you assess the record and how he's played in those 2 games at the Ravens game, depending on what their situation is at and how hard they're going to be trying. I think that's genuinely a thing, because what does that take you to? So we have the Patriots is week 8. We have a week 9 bye. You have a week 10 against the Jets. And then the week 11 game is the Ravens. I think that's fair. And the Ravens are 1-5. So maybe it's not going to matter by the time you get to week 11. If they have 1 or 2 more losses before then, which is totally possible if Lamar remains to be a question mark. But I don't know. It's not like he played, 12 games in college and he was inexperienced and he was a 3rd round. Like, this guy shouldn't be a project. What is there to work on? He doesn't have a huge arm. He doesn't have the physical attributes to really wow you, which is fine. You've seen quarterbacks in the league have success without all those, tangible things. Obviously, him and Tua, they look like almost the same. Like, they're the same subset of players, all the way down from from Hawaii. Like, I don't know what else to say. And Tua was a much better college quarterback than Dillon Gabriel was. If that's a hot take or not, I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I mean, he's a 3rd round pick. You have 2 first rounders next year. They can't do this again going into the offseason. Well, and in the worst case scenario, honestly, the worst case scenario is that they put Deshaun out there and he looks good. Shedeur, I think you got to give Shedeur a chance, especially like in week 11, week 12. Give him 5 games. You gave Flacco, 5 games? 4 games. You give Gabriel 5 games and give Shedeur the rest. I don't know what else to tell you. Do I think Shedeur Sanders is going to come in and look like an all-pro quarterback? No, I don't. I think he's going to take dumb sacks. I think he will turn the ball over. I think he could win you more games and elevate your ceiling higher than what a Dylan Gabriel would, but I think he could lose you a lot of stupid games you shouldn't lose. And Gabriel looks like that now. So what's the difference at this point? I don't think Gabriel has done the level to like get the job ripped away from him. I'm not there yet, but it's like, you got to show me something here, dude. You have to show, and I get it. The drops and Kevin Stefanski's offense might suck. And there's a lot of limiting factors here. Is the whole thing like, if the offense goes, is it because Dylan Gabriel's good? And if offense doesn't go, is it because he's playing bad? No, I'm not saying that at all, but I don't know. It's a 3rd round draft pick. Like, they have to go into this offseason with a clear plan. I don't know what that is, because you're kind of going to be stuck with some of these guys on the roster moving forward. Whether it is like, how can you draft a quarterback next year if you have no intention of moving on from Gabriel, Sanders, and Watson? And do you really feel comfortable moving on from Gabriel or Sanders after only 1 year? And you can't move on from Watson. Like, this was the whole stupidity of drafting the 2 quarterbacks. But Shedeur kept falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. So, you know, if the Haslams make the call for jersey sales or controversy or limelight, whatever it was, whatever it may have been, I don't know how we got here, but here we are. I'm going to be excited with the win. It's one of the better Browns wins in recent memory. Going back to last year, I could tell you that, you know, deep into last year at some points. But like I said, you know, you got the Patriots next week on the road. That's not going to be like some, you know, we're going to be underdogs in that game, rightfully so. Then you play the Jets on the road, probably a team that's just as bad as you, that's probably worse coach, that has maybe a worse quarterback than us. I can't believe we get to see 2 of those teams in, you know, 4 weeks, obviously with the bye sandwich in between, but it's like the whole aspect of the season was, can you just make it through? Can you just survive the first 5 to 6 week gauntlet of Lions, Packers, 2 divisional games with the Ravens and the Steelers, flying overseas and playing a Minnesota team that was already there for 1 week in Ireland, and then they just hop over to England, and you already were at an inherent disadvantage playing that game, a game that you likely should have won, by the way, if you didn't sell in the last 25 seconds. So if you could have survived all that and said, look, like I said earlier, take a deep breath and say, look, we're 3-4 after 7 weeks. There's still some hope left, but we all know that's been thrown away. You're 2-5. You're lucky you played Miami this week. I wish we could play Miami every week, because, you know, there's levels to being incompetent. Like, we look incompetent against a good team. You know, bad teams look incompetent against us, and we're not a very good team, which is tough to say because this defense like has it. It does. There's a couple of weaknesses. There's a couple of, you know, people in the secondary that like other teams that are good and have a good offensive game plan, watch film, would throw the ball at. Miles Harden. But besides that, yeah. And this is a defense that has had bad luck. Imagine this defense. Look, follow me here. Imagine this defense with the stats they have now, the success we've had against the run, the success we had with the turnovers, mostly starting today, but obviously we haven't given up a 300-yard passer in 100 years, allegedly. Imagine this defense with JOK and Schlesinger out there and Martin Emerson healthy. This is the best defense in the league on paper and on the field. And it's really embarrassing that you're 2-5. You know what used to happen when you were the best defense in the league? Like with competent organizations, you go win the Super Bowl. Like the early 2000s Ravens. Like, hey, Trent Dilfer, go out there and don't be a dumbass and we'll win the football game. And then Joe Flacco wins the Super Bowl with them. He was obviously competent in that Super Bowl run, but you still got the debate. Oh, is Joe Flacco a Hall of Famer? It's not like this, you know, it's not like they had an A1 offense. You don't need a top tier offense to compete in 2025, but you can't have bottom of the barrel. You can't have 26th in passing and 29th in running. You just can't have that, whatever it may be after this week. We'll look into the stats. It's just not possible because everything affects everything. The offense not being competent makes the defense either A, give up because they're like, oh, well, you know, why are we going out there and risking life and limb because we know the offense is going to score. So we could hold someone to 15 points and there's still a really good chance we could lose. And you saw this a lot last year with Schwartz. People didn't want to admit it. People saw it, but they didn't want to admit it. And you've seen it this year a lot too, is when you're a defensive coordinator and you're a defensive leader on that side of the football, you have to change your game plan and take risks that you wouldn't otherwise because you know you're going to be down all game. Myles Garrett said it this week in pressers, and people were, oh, boo-hoo, Myles Garrett. Okay, I'm on the same bandwagon. Like, I'm not gonna cry for the guy when he's making $50 million, whatever he's making every year, whatever the hell it may be, some exorbitant amount of money. He said nobody forced them to sign the contract. But I feel like people missed the point there. He was saying, hey, there's only so much the defense could do because this offense is criminally bad. It's incompetent. So we have to sell out for the blitz. We have to sell out for turnovers. And if we get burned, we get burned. Because what does it matter if we give up 18 or if we give up 38? There's still a 60, 70, 80% chance you're going to lose the football game either way. Like I said, we scored 31 today. 7 of it was a Tyson Campbell pick 6, and the other 7 was a touchdown, Judkins' third touchdown, because Tua threw the ball right to Rayshon Jenkins in the end zone, and one of their offensive linemen tripped him up on the 2 or 3 yard line, and it was one play from the Wildcat. Stefanski ain't even let Gabriel operate in the red zone. He's directly snapping the ball to Judkins. What does that tell you? If Gabriel was your guy, right? And you wanted him to get, game-ready snaps in the red zone, which we've been criminal in the red zone all season long. Look up the numbers. Find the statistics. Do the due diligence. They haven't been able to put the ball in the end zone, in the red zone when we get there all season long. Oh, well, Dylan Gabriel was this guy. We love him. We did a lot of our homework on him, and we did a lot of scouting. We really we want to use a 3rd-round draft pick on him. Oh, really? That's cool. You're not even snapping the ball to him in the red zone. How many times do they go to the Wildcat today? And I've been begging for Stefanski to switch up the offense all year. But when you switch up the offense like that, I'm going to have questions on the back end. So your rookie, who's supposed to be so NFL ready because he's played 800 games in college, and he played 6 years, 2 COVID years, and this, that, and the redshirt freshman, whatever, however the hell he even took this many snaps in college, 14 different teams. He is so, we were so confident in picking him with a top 100 pick or a top 150 pick, wherever he was, whatever number selection he was. We're not even going to snap the ball to him in the red zone. We're going to snap the ball to Quinshon Judkins. Hey, at least you don't direct snap the ball to Jerome Ford. That's all we can ask, You give and you take. Maybe Gabriel's not the guy. Maybe he's not. Maybe Shedeur should get a chance, but it's like, hey, I seen a 3rd down run with Jerome Ford on our first drive, and I'm sitting in the restaurant that I'm at, and I thought I was going to lose it. And the game had just started. It was our 4th play. It was our 3rd play of the game after the kickoff. And I thought I was going to have an aneurysm in public because it's 3rd and 4 and you're running the ball with Jerome Ford. Does anybody want him? Anybody? We will take cash considerations. I don't even think they do that in the NFL. We'll take Mr. Irrelevant. We'll take the last pick of the draft. Get him out. Why is Samson only getting 3 rushing attempts? This is crazy. All right, I digress. Good win. It's a lot of complaining, but there's like one win against probably the one of the few teams that's worse than you in the league. It's not going to get me excited. It's going to get me excited in the moment. At least I don't have to, sulk around the rest of the day. And I could at least, have the confidence that we're not going to be the laughing stock of the league this week. But yeah, that's really all that's good for. And like I said, when the draft rolls around in April of 26, I'm sure this win I'm sure all the analysts are, well, this is a big game. This is a big game for, back in October, and Miami lost at the time. But, oh, look, now they moved on from Tua and they get to pick whatever his name is from Indiana, whatever that guy's name is. They get to pick Lenora Sellers. They're just, they found their guy of the future. And we're sitting there flipping a coin like we always do with drafting quarterbacks with this dumbass franchise. So that's where I'm at. Good win today, 31-6. I'll take it. We'll take it. That's all I could say. We'll take it. We're going to New England next week. I would love for them to prove me wrong. I would love for them to win the next 4 games, and we're magically 6-5. And we're just like, oh, Kevin Stefanski is gunning for his 3rd NFL Coach of the Year honors because he's working with nothing and he's making something out of nothing. Even though Jim Schwartz has been carrying you all year long, including today. All right, guys. Appreciate everyone for being here. With that being said, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Comment down below anything I missed. Let me know what was your favorite part of today's game, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.